But as I was saying earlier, when I was little, we lived in a place called Leadville, Colorado. My mother was a school teacher. My father was a miner of some sort. He was also probably the town drunk, but that's of no consequence. The house we lived in was way in the mountains in Leadville, Colorado, and this is 1966. We probably, I don't know how electricity and plumbing worked. I know we had an outhouse. I know our refrigerator was kept on the front porch. Um, we had a spirit that lived in our house. Her name was Mrs. Matson. She was not a fan of my father, and from what I can understand from the reports I've heard of him, I can't blame her. You know, he apparently changed and grew beyond the things that he was, which is good. But she was a spirit in our house, and she had her quirks. Every morning at 5 a.m. she would raise all the blinds. Every evening at 5 p.m. she would lower all the blinds. She was not a fan of the Beatles. My mother and my father went out one night. This is the story I was told. And when they did, they hired, like, I don't know, a 17-year-old teenage boy to come babysit me, and they gave him, you know, the instructions, you know, don't play any Beatles, whatever. And they left. And, well, they told him, you know, my bottle was on the front porch, and told him how to warm it and when to give it to me, and all that, you know, general babysitting stuff that you get. They left, and he's like, you know, a teenager, and this is when the Beatles were popular, and so he put on a Beatles album. And there's a gnat. If you wonder what I'm doing, I'm like trying to get there's this mosquito. Anyway, so he put on a Beatles album, and it played, and it stopped, and the needle lifted up and set back down. Well, he didn't think anything of it, so he picked it up, started it over again. The album started playing, the needle lifted up, set back down. He did that 2 or 3 times, whatever. And then I'm being an infant, and I'm in my bed, and I start to cry. So he goes out to the front porch to get my bottle to warm up. Opens the refrigerator up on the front porch, and my bottle's not there. Well, now I'm not crying. So he goes in to see me in my crib with a bottle fully warmed, and I'm laying on a pillow that nobody's ever seen before. One time my mother had been out cleaning the outhouse, and she came in, and the entire house smelled of gingerbreads and cakes. And another time she walked in to her bedroom, and sitting on her nightstand, you know, was my bottle just sitting there, and she watched my bottle scoot across, and then watched the top unscrew by itself, and then the whole thing spill all over my dad's side of the bed. We had a cat named Mac, and Mac wasn't supposed to go outside. Mac was kind of like a bully cat. The mailman was afraid to bring the letters anyway. But Mrs. Matson knew that Mac wasn't supposed to go outside. Mother had accidentally left the door open, and then she saw Mac with something invisible holding his collar, keeping him from going outside. I've had a spirit watching over me. My father, who I met, well, after my estranged father, I met finally when I was like 50. Oddly enough, in the college town. Small, tiny college town in Alabama. Anyway, so many weird things about that. But anyhow, I lost where I was going with that. But I've had many spirits. Many. And that's just part of the story of Mrs. Matson. There's more to the story of Mrs. Matson that I haven't gotten into. I don't know if I will. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But there's just a little more information I wanted to be out there. It's going to be on the cloud, so when they find how to work out this cloud thing, happy archaeology.